When I tell you the last thing I want to do right now is record a video, the last thing I want to do right now is record a video. We could literally watch Kristen chain smoke cigarettes for freaking hours. Guys, editing Sam. So about halfway through this video, I realized that my audio was cutting out and is completely gone. So this video is supposed to be like 50 minutes to an hour. Now it's only 23 and I only have half of what I wanted to talk about. So I apologize for that, but at least I'm giving you something. So I hope you enjoy what I have. Around like 22 minutes, 22 and a half minutes, it'll like kind of cut off when they start talking about Nima. So I apologize, but I hope you enjoy this either way and you just get like a shorter video. But that's it. Bye. Enjoy. Hi guys, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Sam. I am a pop culture commentary channel coming to you live from my home. Hope you like it. So here's the thing, guys. I am angry, pissed off, frustrated, and I'm like forcing myself to talk to you guys because I'm like, you know what? You're my bestie. I'm your bestie. We're going to be fine. It's all going to be okay. Me, you, the spatula, we're all going to be fine. But here's the thing. Between Tom Sandoval making me want to actually be bold because I need to rip my hair out of my skull, to everything that's been going on lately with Kansas City and Travis Kelce and I'm violently angry at this point. Like, I cannot explain it, how angry I am. But here's the thing. We're not here for that. We're here to talk about Vanderpump Rules. You guys need a break from the world, and I am here to give it to you. So you're welcome. All right, so here's the thing. I look gorgeous right now, and I hope you love that. I try to make sure that when I'm talking to you guys, I'm being casual, I'm being chill, so that way you guys feel like you're casual and chill, and we're just little gabbies over here. Now, I have a lot of thoughts and a lot of opinions, and some of them are good ones, some of them are bad ones, but we're just chit-chatting and talking, so let's figure it out together, shall we? The old notebook is out, and we're gonna have a little chitter-chatter, pitter-patter. My issue here with Sandoval is that he truly thinks he's doing something right. And he's grasping at straws to find one human that'll literally communicate to him that he's 1000% right. And honestly, that person is Billy Lee. But outside of Billy Lee, I really don't know who is telling him all the time that he's right. I watched a recent clip from Reality Ops, which if you don't follow Reality Ops, I highly recommend you following her. She posted a clip from Sandoval's newest podcast episode, and Kyle Chan is on it with his other co-host there, who I also don't really like. And Kyle Chan was on there, and Scheana had said in the after show that Kyle Chan is probably the only friend that Tom Sandoval has that doesn't just like bow down to him. He just lives his own life, has his own opinions, and doesn't really deal with Tom's shenanigans. And I was watching the clip that Reality Ops posted, and he really was like, do you not see where people are coming from? Like, do you not understand how you come off? Do you not understand that these are people's experiences from the things that you've done to them? Do you not see why they might feel that way? Do you not see how you might be coming off like a narcissistic ass? It's refreshing. Honestly, Kyle Chan is the real winner. Kyle Chan's doing charity work, hanging out with Tom Sandoval. Actual money to the poor for that one, because I don't understand why you want to associate yourself. If you're that smart enough to know that he's a dipshit, why are you associating yourself with him? What is the point here? Okay. Now let me preface before we get like deep into this conversation. Okay, listen, the conversation, trigger warning, conversation got brought up about Tom Sandoval possibly wanting to unalive himself. Okay. And let me say my experience with that type of conversation. So there have been multiple types of people in my life that have done that horrible act. That's really sad. It's really depressing. People can go to some really dark places. Okay. Now, the ones that actually followed through and committed that horrible act did not tell anybody. They didn't make it clear to anybody. They did not make it a conversation. They didn't use it as an excuse to get out of certain conversations. They didn't say that they almost did this, they almost did that. They unfortunately followed through with it. Okay. And then the people that were talking about it the most, having conversations about it, and I don't mean like reaching out for help. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about using it almost as like a way to get out of certain conversations about their own behavior. They didn't follow through on it. it kind of came like, it's one of those things where it's like, I'm going to say it to make everybody around me shut up. That's my experience with people. And with Tom Sandoval, I tiptoe around with men like him. I tiptoe around with people like him because I feel like he uses that as an excuse to halt conversations, to stop conversations. You know, I feel like he just doesn't understand the way that he comes off. He doesn't understand that the way that he speaks to other people, the way that he speaks to Lisa, the way that he speaks to Scheana in this episode, the way that he speaks to Ariana, the way that he speaks about Ariana, the way that he talks, it's like, okay, are you bringing this up because you genuinely went through that and are scared and had a hard time? Or are you bringing it up because you're trying to get the person you're talking to shut up and listen to you and be on your side? Like, whose side are we on? What are we actually talking about? What are we doing? That is my confusion with Tom Sandoval with bringing that up to Lisa, and what felt like using that as a way to get Lisa to be on his side, because obviously we all know Lisa's brother unfortunately passed away due to the same type of circumstance. But he didn't tell anybody. It came kind of out of left field. And that's like the difference, in my opinion. And I feel like in my experience researching that type of behavior, there's usually a pattern of not saying anything, not talking about it, and not involving anybody, and then doing that versus throwing it in everybody's face so that way you get a sympathy vote. Does that make sense? Like, I don't want to be insensitive, but I also don't want someone on national television to get away with using something that's really scary as a motive to get their way. Does that make sense? I just go back and forth with him on him bringing that up. It just feels a little manipulative, and it feels like he's really trying to get his point across, and the only way to do that is to stop people in their tracks with some like insane comment or insane thing. Okay, does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I'm not trying to project on anybody else. I'm not trying to take away people's experiences with wanting to unalive themselves. I'm just talking about my experience with people that have done that and have gone through those moments. I have met people like Tom Sandoval who have used that as a way to get a sympathy vote. Multiple people. And I don't like that. It is disturbing to me. And that's the vibe I'm getting from Tom Sandoval. Okay, so that's how I feel. Doesn't mean it's true. It's just an inkling I'm having from my own experiences with certain people in my life. That's all. Okay. So what I don't like is that it felt like Tom Sandoval waited until there were cameras on him to give an apology. Like, you had such a huge chunk of time, like what, 3-ish months, 2.5-ish months, where you could have communicated with Scheana, who you supposedly love and miss so much. Give me a literal break. You know, talk to James. You're never going to get you're never going to be able to apologize to Ariana. That's never going to happen because she has a right to not want that apology and not want to be around you and be near you. And I have a lot of opinions about that too. But I don't like that it seems to me like Sandoval waited until there were cameras on him to call people, message people, and give apologies to people. He could have done that without cameras around, and he didn't. And that's why I feel like it gives a little credibility to what Ariana said, that when they broke up, the first thing she did was call production, because she knew that if she didn't call production, he was going to manipulate things to make him look good. And I feel like that's what he was trying to do. He's like, well, I'm not going to apologize off camera. I got to apologize on camera so that way they could see it. He's very manipulative, and he wants to make things look good, and he wants to make himself look good, and he's not doing good at that. What's crazy to me, and what I don't think he understands, and I wish he would like listen to somebody when they say this, is like, if you just shut up and stopped trying to plead your case, people would like you. But, and Schwartz has said this, I think even Kyle Chan said this, he's very hard to defend. Tom Sandoval is extremely hard to be his friend. It's extremely hard to defend someone like him because he just keeps sticking his foot in it over and over and over and over. When really, all Tom Sandoval has to do was to make an apology, a sincere one, or at least pretend it was sincere. Okay, make what looks like a sincere apology, and then literally go into hiding. Just don't talk to anybody. Don't go out anywhere. Don't do anything. Okay, go away. And then when you come back, continue the apologies. Don't say but. Don't make excuses. Just go, I really messed up people's lives. And because of that, I don't expect them to forgive me. And that's okay. And all I can do is show you with my actions, and then keep showing with your actions that you won't do things like this again. You won't be a manipulative person. You aren't going to be a pathological liar. You aren't going to be a narcissistic freak. And he just can't do that. He cannot help himself. He just wants it to be all about him. He wants everybody to like him. And the thing is that what's really dangerous about him is that he doesn't not only just love bomb you as a partner, but he will love bomb you as a friend. I think, in my opinion, no scientific facts to back this up, I think, in my opinion, that Tom Sandoval purposely tries to be the most amazing, wonderful, best friend on the planet to use it against people. He's used it against Jax. He's used it against James. He's used it against Lala. He's used it against, Ariana, for God's sakes. He uses it against everybody when it fits his narrative. I'm the most amazing friend. You can't get a better friend than me. I've done this. I've done that. I've done this. I've done that. I'm such a good person. I took you in. I was there for you. I stood up for you. I stood up for you because you were the underdog. Bah, 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 bah. And it's like, I don't think he's doing those things out of like a selfless act. He's doing those things because it makes him look good. Therefore, he can always say like, I did this for you. I did that for you. And it almost like, to him in his brain, it balances itself out like, oh, I was there for you in this moment. Therefore, when I do a bad thing, it doesn't count anymore because I did a good thing. For every good thing I do and every bad thing I do, they X each other out. It's like, no, that's not math, bro. That's not how that works. Like, that's not the math of life. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not how that all works. You're being manipulative and you're not being a good friend to be a good friend. You're being a good friend in order to gain what you want. And the love bombing of friendships, like him paying for James and Raquel's engagement was wild to me. Was insane to me. There was no reason for that. But it's like, oh, well, I'm such a good friend. It doesn't, anything bad I do to you, I'm such a good friend to you though. I'm such a good friend to you. I paid for your engagement. Like, what do you want from me? Like, I was such a good friend. It's like, right, in that moment. But after that moment was over, here's where you were a shitty friend over and over and over. And he also loves to bring up the past. And there's been clips thrown around from old seasons of Vanderpump Rules where he shows that's what he does. He will take the thing about Tom Sandoval is that he has, I'm a very imaginative person. I can see a lot of things in my brain when I'm talking. Okay. There's nothing blank up here. There's too much going on here. Honestly, I think someone should really take inventory and try to do a little clean out of my brain. Okay. So visually, what I see in Tom Sandoval's brain is that he has a filing drawer and every single person in his life has a file. And every time they do something bad, he boop, puts it in. Does something bad, boop, puts it in. Does something bad, boop, puts it in. He doesn't always bring it up. He doesn't always make a stink about it, but he files it in his brain when people have done bad things, especially the women in the group. If they've done a bad thing, it's like double file. Okay. File. Then when they do something to him that he does not like, that makes him look bad or gets him frustrated or puts him in a bad light or isn't how he would do something, he pulls that file out and he will just rip through as many things as he can to be like, you're a bad guy. I'm the good guy. You suck. I'm a winner. I hate you. He did that with Jax's wedding. He did that with Stassi with Tom Tom. He did that with Katie with everything. I mean, he hated Katie. The fact that in this whole thing, if you watch the after show, and I cannot express to you enough how much you would need to watch the show and the after show because they really have done a good job of filling out a good picture of what's been going on. And it's a little bit more to current day. I think when they filmed the after show was like November or December, I believe, because it was after Scheana and Lala's Christmas song came out. So it had to be like November, December. So to have that like flesh out and see the whole thing, it's been really nice. And Tom had talked about in the before and after show, or the after show, that he's never gone to the press, and talked about anybody else's relationship. I've never done that. Like, I don't go out and talk about people's relationships to the press, blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's say that that's true. It's not, but let's say that that is true, okay? You are on a reality television show. And so, yes, you might not go to Page Six, you might not go to the Daily Mail, you might not go to TMZ and specifically go to them and say, hey, here is my opinion about someone's relationship. But what you do is you do go on your show, Vanderpump Rules, which is a reality TV show, which is a huge reality TV show now, but a lot of people watched then. And what you did do is you talked complete garbage about your best friend's wife and took every opportunity you could to make Katie look like the villain in every single situation. Could never find a moment where Schwartz did anything wrong. Schwartz was always right. Katie was always wrong, no matter what Katie did. Katie's the bitch. Katie's the worst. Katie's horrible. Katie. What is the difference? What is the difference from going to a news outlet to doing it on your television show that is broadcasted to thousands of people? What the hell is the difference? You're still talking shit about people's relationships. You talk shit about Randall and Lala as much as you humanly possibly could. You talked about Scheana and her relationships in a negative light as much as you possibly could on your TV show. So what is the difference? You're still talking crap. I don't get involved. Yes, you do. You are so involved in Schwartz and Katie's relationship that Katie literally divorced this man. And you were part of the reason why, in my opinion, that happened. Because Schwartz could not choose Katie over Sandoval ever. Ever. And in my opinion, this is Schwartz's karma. This is Schwartz's karma. You chose Sandoval over Katie, and this is what you get. You get failed businesses, you get a shit friend, and you get to be talked about like a piece of garbage all the time. And Katie gets to thrive. Katie gets to thrive because she doesn't have to deal with your garbage anymore. Because if you get Tom Sandoval, you get Tom Schwartz. If you get Tom Schwartz, you get Tom Sandoval. They're a package, unfortunately. And that's just what it is. And the faster that Tom Schwartz gets away from him, the better it's going to be. Like, Tom Schwartz really needs to stick with James and stick with the girls. And it's like, we're ostracizing people from the group. Okay, we're grown-ups. This isn't an episode of Friends. We're adults. And if you don't want to be friends with somebody, it doesn't matter if you're on a show with them. I don't want to be friends with them. And I love this boundary that Ariana is setting of like, I don't want to be around you, therefore I'm not going to. I don't care that we live in a house together. I don't want to spend time with this person. There's no reason to. He is the one that is sticking his feet so deep down, 10 toes down, to keep this house. He doesn't need to do that. He can leave. He doesn't want to because he's a narcissist. It is what it is, in my opinion. Okay? When he's talking to Lisa about the housing, and Lisa was like, what you should have done is you should have left. Well, it's a nice house and one of us should be able to keep it and blah, 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 blah. Who? Why do you get to decide that? Why do you get to decide who gets to keep the house? Because you want the house. Because your ego is too big to even fit in that house. And I've already said this on other episodes that I've done here, on other reviews that I've done of this show. He wants to keep the house because he knows that if he didn't have Ariana, he wouldn't be able to keep that house. He wouldn't even have that house. He is aware of that. He's also, I think, keenly aware that there is collateral attached to that house with the restaurant. He's aware of that too. That's the problem. He knows because he watched his best friend. I've already said this. He watched his best friend go through a divorce and lose his house. And what can he afford now? An apartment, and that's it. And Tom Sandoval doesn't want to do that. He wants to be able to be like, I live in a big house, blah, blah, blah. He wants to be able to do that. Oh, I worked so hard in this house. I did this on the house. I did that on the house. Okay, so then maybe you shouldn't have ruined everybody's life that lived in the house. Did you think about that? No. There's an excuse for everything. The thing that makes me giggle is that, and this isn't the first time I've heard a man do this. It's funny to watch Schwartz and Sandoval be like, oh, the girls are being Ariana's being a diva. She's so full of herself. And it's like, is she full of herself? Is she being a diva? Or is she finally standing up for herself and saying, I don't want to be a part of this anymore. I don't want to be in this toxic relationship. I don't want to be around toxic people. So therefore, I don't have to be. I don't have to spend time with you. I don't have to be near you. If I don't want to be, I can just go live my own life. And that equates to her being a diva and a bitch? I don't understand. That's why they don't like Katie. Because Katie, for years, has been that way too. Of, I don't want to be friends with you, so I'm not going to be friends with you. And she doesn't be friends with you. And so on and so forth. And it's very telling to me that Scheana is kind of on the same boat as the boys of like, well, she doesn't talk to me as much lately. You know, she's so busy. And I'm like, Scheana, you really got to cut the crap. You really got to cut the crap. It's got to stop. You can't side with the men. It's never going to end up good. It's just never going to end up good. You're always, and she sits there on the after show and is like, oh, I've never had a good season. I'm like, okay, did you want to look into that maybe? Like self-actualization? Did you want to look into the arguments that were happening? Did you want to look into how everybody else was feeling? Did you want to look into the way that you treated certain people and the rumors you spread about them and the way that you talk to people? Did you want to look into any of that? Maybe. And then maybe you would have a good season if you stopped taking the side of the person who is always hurting people. Did you think about that? There are some seasons where, yeah, I do think that Scheana really got the brunt of it. I do think that Scheana really got knocked over from a lot of the women on the cast. I do think that. The thing that's also getting me is this like narrative that's being pushed out about Rachel. Now listen, I'm not saying me and Rachel are best friends here. I'm not saying I agree with everything that Rachel did. Okay, I know. But here's what I do think, okay? The fact that Billie Lee is co-signing the crap behavior and enabling even more crap behavior is disturbing to me. It's disturbing to me, okay? I don't understand how she has the ability to walk up to Tom Sandoval and say to his face that Rachel abandoned him. Abandoned him? Are you insane? Are you crazy? What are you talking about? Abandon him? Ew. Well, it's my birthday. I really thought that, she taught. Well, according to Rachel, he said that it was selfish for her to go get help. It was selfish for her to go deal with this by herself and leave Tom Sandoval all by himself. Are you cuckoo for mother effing Cocoa Puffs? Bro, what are you talking about? I think it's selfish that you manipulated this girl. You gaslit her and made her think that everything was completely fine and allowed her to get to such a low point that, let's be for real, she was drinking a lot more. She was probably doing other things and was going cuckoo because of you, bro. Like, I understand that she has responsibilities of her own, and she does, and I don't take away any of that. There's a puzzle piece for her that she has to figure out and she has to deal with herself. But she did. She did go deal that with herself. She did go make a change. She did stop being in the public eye, stop making statements, stop doing stuff. She went and did her own thing. And Scheana brought up in the after show, they were talking about the whole Scheananigans episode with Nema. And that got brought up in the show too. And Scheana was like, I don't understand how Rachel got upset about the Nema thing when she's supposed to be in a facility, not having contact with anybody, getting her mental health ready. So that tells me that Tom Sandoval was the one that told her about Nema,